Okay, where is this? I haven't been.
Jim?
Yeah, how do you?
Well, yeah, that's right. But I always have an open door policy. That's very close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably gonna be a marathon meeting
Oh,
again.
yeah. Oh, I don't think so. Quick test. There we go. Folks, we're going to go ahead and get started here in just a moment. You can sit out here. This will be very brief. You're fine. You're fine. All right. Well, in the interest of time, I will go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone. I'm Trenton Weaver, and it is my distinct honor to welcome you here this evening as your president of City Council. I'd like to thank you all for being here and joining us. I also want to thank all of my council colleagues, our city attorney and our mayor for joining us as well, including several former elected officials and, of course, our wonderful and incredible city staff as well. Today is a ceremonial end of one chapter and one in a series of new beginnings for our city as we commemorate the final council meeting in this facility. For years, we've known that our municipal buildings were not meeting the moment. It was shortly after I was sworn in for my first term on council in early 22 that we sat down as a whole over at the Senior Center and started having conversations about what are we going to do. We knew the needs. We knew that our facilities needed to grow. And fast forward, and after much hard work by many hands, it is exciting that that moment has finally arrived. There will be much more to say in the coming weeks about our new facilities at 825 Tech Center Drive. But today is a special opportunity to celebrate the history in this building. This facility has served the needs of our city employees and, more importantly, the needs of our community for over 60 years. As cities grow, as technologies evolve, and as the demands of public service change to meet the expectations and wishes of the community, so too must its facilities. When the new chambers in this building were dedicated, I had just started kindergarten at High Point. Not to date myself, and since then, our community has continued to grow and evolve. While operations and staff have transitioned to the new Gahanna Civic Center, it's important that we recognize the history of this building and the chapters before it that led us to today. If you haven't already, I do encourage you to take a look at the exhibits. A special thank you to our MORPC intern this summer, Ms. Karis Lance, as well as our council office staff for putting together the history of Gahanna City Hall. From meeting and family living rooms at the founding to this facility today to Tech Center Drive for tomorrow and beyond. Do hope that you will stick around for the beginning of our meeting at 7, and we hope to see you at a meeting soon in the community's new facilities on Tech Center Drive. But with that, I encourage you to grab some refreshments, and I'd like to introduce Mayor Lori Jadwin. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here this evening for what really is an important moment in our community as we gather for the final council meeting here in these chambers at 200 South Hamilton Road. You know, for more than 3 decades, this building has been a place of service to our Gahanna community. Countless residents have walked through that door, whether to vote, to attend a meeting, to pay a bill, run a park shelter, celebrate a special milestone, receive special recognition, or perhaps just simply want to be part of their community. And for those same 3 decades plus, hundreds of city employees have come to work here every single day for the purpose of serving the residents of Gahanna. And generations of leaders have sat in these walls, in these halls and amongst these walls, making important decisions that have shaped the future of our community. A lot of history has happened here. There have been difficult conversations, many in these rooms. There's been celebrations, there's been challenges, and so many people who have given their time and their energy to make Gahanna a better place. And that is what makes this building special. It's not in the brick and the mortar, it's in the people and the memories of what has happened here. As we prepare to begin a new chapter at 825 Tech Center Drive, our new Civic Center, we are not leaving that history behind. The work that happened in this building helped to create the Gahanna that we know today. And that is coming with us, along with that same dedication and commitment to serving our residents with pride and purpose and excellence every day in everything that we do. It is fitting that we are here together. We have elected leaders, current and former. We have our city staff. We have members of the community, because that's what this building is about. This building has been a place where people come together to serve Gahanna, and it's fitting that we say goodbye to her tonight, at least for our civic purposes, with everybody still in this room together. To everyone who has served our community, elected leaders, city staff, current, former, thank you. Thank you for being part of the story of Gahanna, whether big or small in some way. You have helped to shape who we are today. We can be proud of where we've been. We can be grateful for the people who have helped to make us who we are today. And we can be excited about where we are headed in the next chapter of Gahanna going forward. And with that, I'll invite you all, as we celebrate tonight and say goodbye to 200 South Hamilton Road, to mark your calendars for next Tuesday as we officially dedicate our new Civic Center to the community at 825 Tech Center Drive on 825. And we should have scheduled it at 825, but either that was too early or too late for people. So that's from starting at 5 o'clock next Tuesday. But we do hope that everybody will join us there. But for tonight, let's focus on this City Hall, this property, what it has meant to our community, and give her a proper salute and goodbye. Thank you for joining us tonight. And as our council president said, please enjoy some refreshments before, I think we have about 10 minutes maybe before we begin our meeting. So grab those cupcakes now. Thanks for being here.
Tuition is expensive, but your dorm doesn't have to be. Wayfair's proving you don't need a big budget to create a dorm you'll love. From smart storage to decor that makes your space feel like home, you can spend less and love it more. Shop back to school essentials delivered fast and
Hello, sir. No?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
There. I'll give Stephen just a second. Good evening, everyone. Today is Monday, August 17th, 2026. I've got 7:04 p.m., so I'd like to go ahead and call to order this regular meeting of Gahanna City Council on what is a very special evening as the final City Council meeting in this facility. If you would please join me in standing, if you're able, for the invocation led by Vice President Jones.
For over 30 years, the business of this city has happened in this room. Budgets and rezonings, streets and sidewalks, parks and permits, arguments settled and unsettled. Residents who came because something mattered enough to them. None of that was ever in the walls. It was in the willingness of the people to show up and take a seat in this chamber. Councils met in Gahanna long before this room existed and will meet long after we've closed it. Tonight is the last time we do it here. Let's do it as carefully as if it were the first. And may we, as always, for the last time in this space, proceed with purpose and care.
Thank you. I'd like to invite our honor guard forward. There's a special symmetry to this evening's proceedings. On September 20th, 1994, Gahanna City Council held its first meeting in what were then the new council chambers here at 200 South Hamilton. The minutes from that night tell us that former city officials were invited back to take part in the opening of the meeting, including former council members who delivered the Pledge of Allegiance. As we gather for our final meeting in these chambers, we want to honor that tradition. We are joined by two such leaders this evening. Former Mayor Jim McGregor served Gahanna for 18 years, including 5 terms as mayor, helping guide the city through a period of tremendous growth and investment. And former council member Karen Angelou, who was seated at this dais for that very first meeting in these chambers in September 1994, and went on to give an extraordinary 34 years of elected service to the people of Gahanna. If I could have Mayor McGregor and Councilmember Angelou come forward and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you all. You may be seated. Now, before we call the final roll here at 200 South Hamilton, it is also fitting that we recognize Isabel Sherwood, whose 30 years of service to Gahanna included nearly 3 decades in the council office and service as clerk of council from 2000 until her retirement. Her extraordinary knowledge of our city, its code, its streets, and most importantly, its people, helped shape the professional and orderly work of council for generations. It is an honor to welcome her back today to call the final roll in this chamber. With that, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Bowers,
Here.
Jones,
Here.
McGregor,
Here.
Padova,
Here.
Renner,
Here.
Schnitzer,
Here.
Weaver.
Here. Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, moving right along. Again, thank you everyone for joining us. Section B, are there any additions or corrections to the agenda this evening? All right, seeing none. Mr. Clerk, do we have any speaker slips this evening?
None this evening.
All right. Next up, Section D, our consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda as published?
So moved, Mr. President.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Schnetzer, a second by Mr. Renner. Any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Schnitzer.
Yes.
Renner.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Padova.
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
All right, the consent agenda is published, or adopted as published. Next up, correspondence and actions. Mr. Clerk?
Nothing this evening.
All right. Anything from my council colleagues? All right. Moving right along, representatives, Community Improvement Corporation, Mr. Renner and Ms. Padova.
Our next meeting will be this Wednesday, the 19th at 8 a.m. It will be here, correct? Yes.
Yes, correct.
It will be here in the committee room at 8 a.m.
All right, thank you. Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission, the commission met on August 13th, 2026. Our next meeting will be on September 10th. At our meeting, the Auditor of State Regional Representative presented Morpsey with the Auditor of State Award with distinction for its 2025 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. We were also provided with the Central Ohio Cycling Guide. Morpsey completed the Columbus Metro Bike Map and the region's first 15-county trail map featuring regional trails, rides, scenic destinations, and cultural attractions. I've got a few hard copies, but the guide is available through Morpsey free of charge. We also received some population estimates for the region moving forward. Growth is certainly continuing, but the theme does seem to be that growth is a little slower than had been predicted several years ago. The last thing that I wanted to mention here, included in the full report this evening is a list of disaster resources for anybody who may be in need after the storms that the region has experienced. And lastly, I'd like to congratulate Mr. Schnetzer on his appointment to, and I apologize if I butcher this, this was the Investment Advisory and Reserve Committee?
Reserve policy.
Reserve Policy Committee. I was
Pretty close.
close. Well, congratulations. We look forward to your service with Morpsey. All right, Convention and Visitors Bureau, Ms. Padova.
Nothing from me this evening. Thank you.
All right, School Board, Ms. Jones.
Yeah, just a reminder of upcoming meetings this week. The first is a Finance and Facilities meeting, which is tomorrow, the 18th. Regular board meeting is this Thursday, August 20th. Both meetings are at 6:30 at Clark Hall. And school is back in session. Sad for the kids, but parents are maybe a little happy about that. But just a reminder to the community with that return to school of just being mindful of more buses on the road, more bikers and walkers on our sidewalks heading to school, and just wishing everyone a very safe, fun, and successful school year.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Section G, official reports. Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to extend thank you to Mayor McGregor, Councilwoman Angelou, our former clerk, Isabel Sherwood, and Mifflin Township trustee, Dick Angelou, for joining us this evening on a special moment here for our community as we hold our final council meeting here at 200 South Hamilton Road. It's been a special evening already. Appreciated the comments from Councilman Weaver earlier and having all of you here to celebrate this moment for us. But it feels, as we prepare to say goodbye to this building, at least for these chambers, it does feel appropriate to take a moment to reflect on what has been a few very busy weeks here in Gahanna. Over the past 3 weeks, we have moved 3 full operations into the new Civic Center in their entirety. All City Hall operations, including all of our departments, our City Council offices, our City Attorney's offices, Mayor's Court, the Gahanna Division of Police Headquarters, and the Senior Center. With that transition just wrapping up this morning, when our field officers that were the final subdivision to move into that building took their first shift at 825 Tech Center this morning. So everyone is now fully ensconced at 825 Tech Center Drive. If residents need services, please see us there. We certainly have had just a few bumps along the way, including tornadic storms last week that were unexpected. But overall, the move has gone very smoothly, and I'd like to thank Directors Schultz and Vollmer and the teams here at the city as well for all of their work in making sure that our employees transitioned into that new space as smoothly as they have. I'm grateful to them, all of our staff, for their flexibility, their hard work, and their patience throughout the process, as well as to our residents for their patience as we have transitioned our staff into the new space. Even though we've been focused on that move, our staff has nonetheless been very busy with events and activities throughout the community. The Gahanna Division of Police hosted another wonderful national night out, engaging our families and residents with fun activities and free food. Kona Ice is always popular on a hot evening. Lots of smiles around from kids to our officers. Last week, our division came together again as we said goodbye to Detective John Power, who retired after 25 years of dedicated service to Gahanna and certainly serving our community with distinction. We also welcomed hundreds of Corvettes, hot rods, and classic cars with the annual Capital City Corvette Club Car Show. That's a lot of C's in there. This year's show was held at a new location, which is run really will allow that event to grow into the future. And this past weekend, the Gahanna Rotary and Kiwanis Clubs joined forces, bringing together the Education Foundation, Neighborhood Bridges, and Make Gahanna Yours to distribute hundreds of backpacks to students who are about to begin activities and school year here in Gahanna, ensuring that they are equipped and ready to start the year off successfully. And just a few hours later, we had the pleasure of enjoying the beautiful music that was presented by the Pro Musica Chamber Orchestra for a concert at Headley Park. We were able to avoid the rain, and it was a beautiful evening, and it was wonderful to welcome them back for the first time since they presented a socially distanced drive-up concert back during the pandemic, really bringing us together as a community at a time when it really mattered the most. So as I shared with Janet Chen, I hope it's not another 5 or 6 years before they come back to Gahanna, but we certainly thank our Gahanna Area Arts Council for continuing to bring those art opportunities here to our community. I've had the opportunity to be part of each of those events over the past few weeks, and what stands out to me most, as always, is the incredible energy and commitment that exists throughout Gahanna, whether it's our employees doing the work of moving our operations forward despite just a few hurdles along the way, whether it's our residents coming together to present community events or volunteering or organizations giving their time to support others. Those are the moments that really highlight what make Gahanna a special community. And now as we close the chapter on our operations here and prepare to begin a new chapter at 825, I hope that our residents will join us again. I'll repeat next Tuesday on 825 at 825 at 5 o'clock as we officially dedicate that new Civic Center to our community. It really will be an opportunity to make this important milestone, celebrate that together and what the investment means for Gahanna and for our future. For more details on that, they're available at gahanna.gov as always, and we look forward to seeing everyone there next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. City Attorney Tamara Larison.
That was a tough act to follow. Nothing from me this evening. Thank you.
All right, council comment, Mr. Renner.
Good evening. I have the distinct pleasure of actually sitting in the Karen Angelo chair. So, I have a couple of speeches, and Madam Mayor, you expressed a lot of the sentiments, so it may sound a little bit of a repeat, but I think it's important that a member of council actually also voices these. Tonight marks our final city council meeting in this historic city hall, a building that has stood the seat of Gahanna civic life since 1994. My own connection to this place began before I joined council. I first became involved with the city in 2008 as a member of its Civil Service Commission, and I also came here to present ideas to the Development Department. Long before I took this seat on the dais, I sat in the audience of council and planning commission meetings, listening, asking questions, supporting proposals, and participating as a resident who cared deeply about our beautiful city. Since 2012, I have had the honor of serving the people of Gahanna as a member of City Council. And over the years, this building has become woven into many of my most meaningful public service memories. But tonight is simply a reflection of my own experience. The true story of this place is not about any elected official. It's not about me. It's about the people of Gahanna and the employees who have given life to this building in every day. Countless residents, staff members, elected officials, volunteers, business owners, and community advocates have passed through these doors carrying hopes, concerns, disagreements, and ideas for the future of our city. Within these walls, we have witnessed difficult deliberations, consequential decisions, moments of celebration, and moments of disappointment, and certainly countless instances where people came together in their shared pursuit of something better in our city. Over the years, I have watched our staff meet the challenges of limited space, evolving needs with creativity and dedication. Offices were rearranged, rooms were repurposed, and people continually adapted so that the work of serving the public could also continue without interruption. They have not only been the workforce of the city, they have been the living presence of City Hall itself. When residents call the city, they are rarely calling an elected official. They are reaching civil servants who carry out the daily work of local government, maintaining streets, cleaning and creating parks, supporting our economic development, providing water and sewer and stormwater services like last week, reviewing plans and permits, and responding to the everyday needs of our community. Can I build a fence? How do I obtain a plumbing or electrical permit? Who can help me with a pothole on my street? These and many more seem like simple questions, but the answers to them are where government becomes real in people's everyday lives. The public servants who looked and worked within these walls have turned those questions into solutions, and community needs into meaningful service. Soon this building will grow dark and quiet. We don't know yet what is the next chapter for it at all. But in the spirit of service that has filled these rooms, it will not remain behind. It will move forward with our employees, our elected officials, and our community into the new City Hall. So tonight, we don't simply say goodbye to a building. We honor what is meant to this community. We carry within us the memories made here, the lessons learned, and the significance this place holds for so many. And we close this chapter, we also open another, a new City Hall, a new era, and a new opportunity to serve our Gahanna. The lights may grow dark in this building, but the work and the enduring light of public service will also continue. Thank you. I have another matter and a point of personal privilege. I would like to thank Miranda and all the city staff involved in the interviewing and hiring and supervising our seasonal employees. My son, Caleb, had been offered an opportunity to return to work at the city pools, but he wanted something different. And Caleb he's a restless child. He interviewed for a second seasonal position with the service department and was fortunate to be offered the job. Caleb knew that he would be the newest and least experienced member of the crew, but from the beginning, he was treated with a kindness and respect. The staff welcomed him, taught him, trusted him with real responsibilities, and made him feel that his work mattered. During his time within the department, he painted fire hydrants, cleaned out many storm drains, learned how street signs are made, helped set up road closures, and even learned how to program the electronic messaging sign that we see on the street. That moment, during last week's severe derecho, Caleb texted me from a parked city truck and shared pictures of flooding that was occurring in our city. He had just finished cleaning a storm drain, and the drain that he was doing exactly what it was supposed to do, but the sheer volume of water pouring into it was extraordinary. That moment gave him, and through him, me, firsthand view of the conditions of our city employees sometimes face while serving this community. Suffice it to say, Caleb had a wonderful experience. He saw the breadth of work performed by city employees and for a short time experienced what it means to be part of public service team. It is every parent's hope that their child will learn the value of hard work. But we also hope that they will learn what it means to be part of something larger than themselves, to contribute to the greater good, to help build a better community, and to care for the place that we all call home. Caleb is now happy and preparing for his fall classes, and he came away with this experience with a new skills and good memories and a deeper appreciation for people around the service department. I am a very grateful and proud father. To everyone who worked with Caleb this summer, thank you for giving him this opportunity and for making him feel a valued member of the team. It meant a great deal to him, and it means a great deal to me. Thank you. No further comments.
Thank you, Mr. Renner. Mrs. McGregor.
Just a couple of things. I was thinking about, I've been to a lot of meetings in this building, but before I was here, when Jim was mayor, he oversaw juvenile court. And, you know, that was, I know they do it differently now, but at that time, it was kind of a way for kids who screwed up and to stay local. And he usually had them read a book, and they had to do some community service. And every once in a while, we run into somebody. We were at a Halloween event down in Old Gahanna, and a girl came up to him, and she was just like kind of teary-eyed, and she said, "You don't remember me, but I was in your court." And she said, "That book you made me read changed my life." And she said, "I really appreciate that." And she was a law student at the time. And then we got an email just last week. A young man texted me through Facebook or messaged me, and he said, are you married to Jim McGregor? And I said, yes. So I gave him his contact name, and he emailed Jim and said, you know, I forget what he did. He had stolen something. Do you remember what it was? I don't remember what it was. He'd done something, but he made him read the book, and he had to do community service with the police department, the service department, and he said, you know, it wasn't a big thing, but I was kind of on a bad path. He said, that set me, he said, I never did anything wrong again. He said, that really gave me the impetus to stay on the straight and narrow. And then we found out later, after my son was married a few years, that our daughter-in-law was in his court. She had been toilet papering, and they caught her, and we said, what did he do? She says, he made me read a book. But he didn't even remember that she'd been in his court. So, and then there were marriages. We had, Jim did like 350 marriages, many of them in this room. And you think about this room, it served many, many functions. The court, it was the site of many marriages. Not all of them were here. here, but quite a few of them. So this building has served many, many purposes and has been really a beacon for like some of those young kids that were on a bad path. There was one scavenger hunt. It was a great scavenger hunt. They were seniors at the high school, and they did things like had steel runway lights off the runway, and they did a lot of damage and ended up having to pay for it. But that was one of the biggest things that the kids got into, was a scavenger hunt on steroids. So that wasn't repeated. So, but anyway, this building has served a lot of purposes. I mean, the typical things you think of, and some of the atypical things you wouldn't necessarily think of. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. McGregor. Mr. Schnetzer.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's going to be awfully hard to top all of that, so I think I will reserve my comments for when we are in the new building. So nothing from me today.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Padova.
Yeah, I'm very excited to move to 825, but it is certainly bittersweet to say goodbye to this building and all the memories that I've experienced here, as well as everyone in our community. And I have, in the past, shown appreciation to my spouse as well as the other council colleague spouses. And I did that not knowing that in our history, they used to have these meetings in their homes. So I think that those former council colleague spouses really deserve a kudos for that. I know that my spouse will be happy to hear that our meetings will continue at 8:25 and not in our living room. So I'm sure that yours will as well. That's all for me this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Padova. Ms. Bowers.
Yes, thank you. I'll try to be brief too, but thank you so much for everyone's thoughtful comments this evening, from President Weaver and Mayor Jadwin's opening remarks, Mrs. Jones, your invocation, and of course, the other thoughtful comments from my colleagues this evening. I share a lot of the spirit that's been articulated well tonight. Thank you for your attendance this evening, former Mayor McGregor, former Councilwoman Angelou, former Clerk Sherwood, and Township Trustee Angelou. Before I forget, I do want to express that my thoughts are with community members in Columbus, Upper Arlington, Reynoldsburg, Pataskala, and around the region who have been impacted by severe weather this month. I have a Facebook friend who lost her housing when a building on South Champion collapsed due to the tornado this week. So there are a lot of folks that, while we are commemorating some special things going on here, and we're grateful that Gahanna was mostly spared with this weather, that we certainly have some colleagues and friends here in the region that have need our thoughts and prayers. Just to kind of pivot to this closing moment, I just wanted to share some thoughts. Since 2013, I've had the privilege of being involved with many of you in striving towards a better community. With Mrs. Angelou, I think my very first board was the Citizens Economic Development Review Board in 2013. And then on from there, the Area 3 Commission under Mayor Neeland, a citizens panel for the police chief search, and then the Land Use Plan Steering Committee, all as an involved citizen. And so I echo Mr. Renner's comments that it certainly takes many more than just elected officials to really advance the thought and leadership of this community. And that is certainly driven by the backbone and the range of work that goes on here. I continue to be deeply impressed by city staff and the breadth of expertise and the depth of work that occurs by our people, regardless of whether we are in this building or the future building. I also just wanted to reflect that this evening it's been very lovely to hear everyone singing from the same page tonight. We all recognize the same big picture, even when we disagree on how to get there at times. And I am feeling that this moment is serving as a balm, perhaps on sore hearts and minds that grow weary and abraded, and that I hope that we are all uplifted as we turn this page together, and that we use this moment of alignment to innovate, problem solve, compromise, and collaborate in the months ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bowers. Vice President Jones.
Yes, first, just a big thank you to Council Clerk and staff for putting together the reception this evening, and for everyone, all the city staff who had a part in moving into our new building with council coming soon after. And just briefly, we'll say as, one of the newest members to sit up here and probably one of the newest residents in the room, it is such an honor to just be a small blip in the history of this community. And just thank you for, entrusting those of us to move on into the next chapter of the future of our city. So thank you all for being here and looking forward for what's next.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Couple just housekeeping matters here. First of all, thank you to everyone who has joined us this evening, and thanks if you were able to make it to our open house. If you haven't had a chance, please take a look at some of the exhibits. A huge thank you to Council Office and our MORPC intern from this summer, Karis Lance. Our next regular meeting of City Council will be on September 8th at 7 p.m. in the new Gahanna Civic Center at 825 Tech Center Drive. I will echo the mayor's comments. It was an honor to join National Night Out and quite a privilege to attend the Pro Musica concert as put on by the Gahanna Area Arts Council for a wonderful performance that evening, and that skated by the rain just in the nick of time. It looked a little dicey there, but it was a wonderful evening. The Franklin County Auditor's Office will be holding what they're calling property value review sessions. Folks have probably received their tentative values in the mailer in the mail, excuse me. And the Auditor's Office is going throughout the county, holding opportunities for residents to come meet with an appraiser, discuss their property value before those become finalized. They will be at the Gahanna Sanctuary this Thursday and Friday from 11 to 7. I encourage folks to take advantage of the opportunity. If you miss these property value reviews, you still have an opportunity to contest your value using the Board of Revision process. So, again, thanks to everybody who joined earlier in this evening. I don't want to repeat my remarks from earlier, but I would be remiss if I did not thank our incredible honor guard, our former and current elected officials who have joined us this evening: Mayor McGregor, Councilmember Angelou, Trustee Angelou, Engineer Robertson, of course, Clerk Sherwood. Thank you. I appreciate the mention of other employment and other connections to the city. It was during your comments, Mrs. McGregor, that I remembered that my older sister happened to work for your husband in the mayor's office for a brief time. And I was speaking with Clerk Sherwood that I remembered her from my time in government class when I would have to come to the meeting and sit in the back. And I think, Mrs. Angelou, you were on the dais at that time, too. I will just wrap by saying it is an honor to serve this community, and it is a tremendous honor to share this dais with every single person up here, and express my heartfelt gratitude to all of our city staff, many of whom we don't get the opportunity to interact with as council members on a day-to-day basis, but just know the work is so deeply appreciated. I got to play resident and constituent last week, and I had to call public service. I got a letter in the mail. I needed my irrigation system tested. Backflow valve, yep, thank you. I know I have to do this every year, but I can't remember who am I supposed to call to do this? And so I called, and a wonderful staff member gave me all the help I needed, but I got to say, hey, sir, you moved into that new building? And she said, yes. I said, well, what do you think? And she said, this is gonna be awesome for the community. I will just close this evening by saying thank you to our incredible city staff, and thank you to our community for all of your continued support as we make this transition. With that, I will ask, is there anything further for regular council? Seeing none, we will adjourn council, and I will turn things over to Vice President Jones for Committee of the Whole.
Great, thank you. All right, we'll go right into it. First up, we have items from engineering and Director Naragi. Good to see you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. So I have a couple of items for tonight. So the first item is the Taylor Road water main replacement modification that we have for the engineering services during the construction project. So the Taylor Road water main construction project, ST 1121W824-01, is currently under the construction. So the engineer of record who designed the project is providing the engineering services during the construction, and also construction administration and inspection is under the purview of the design services. So this is the construction administration and inspection is under the contracted under time and materials basis. So the engineer of record has exhausted the estimated value of the services because a lot of unforeseen situation during the construction of the utility conflicts in the construction encountered. So cities relies on the critical services to verify that the project meets the design intent and in protecting the public health and safety. So a modification of $64,032.09 is requested, which includes $46,120 engineer request and a 5% contingency for the use by the city engineer against the full contract value of $17,912.09 to cover any further unforeseen cost. So the administration respectfully requests a resolution authorizing the mayor to modify the engineering services contract with Fishbeck for professional engineering services during the construction contract for the Taylor Road water main replacement, the project WA24-01.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion on this item? All right, are we good with consent on the 8th for this one? All right, thank you. Next item, please.
So the next item is another resolution authorizing mayor to enter into intergovernmental agreement with the Franklin County Transportation Improvement District for the receipt of the grant funding. So in June of 2026, the city and the Franklin County Transportation Improvement District were awarded $200,000 through the Ohio Department of Transportation Improvement District Supplemental Funding Program to support preliminary engineering of the Stigler, Agler, and US 62 improvements project number TR24-02 for the Franklin County Transportation Improvement District to enter into grant agreement with ODOT. The county must first enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the city. So the administration respectfully requests a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into the intergovernmental agreement with the Franklin County Transportation Improvement District at any other necessary contracts in order to administer the awarded funds.
Thank you. Questions or discussion on this item?
I have a question.
Yes, Ms.
Do we
McBride.
have a planned project, like do we have a plan? Is there a plan of how it's going to be improved?
Well, we have the plan, and this is kind of, we are putting for the design of having what options we can get in for the improvement of the intersection and all the area that involves. And we're not just looking at that intersection, we're looking at the area of improvement, but this money specifically was trying to get funded through the design of this project, and then further, we have plan of pursuing other funding sources to make sure that we go for the construction of this project.
The reason I ask is because, I don't know how many years ago it was, more than 6 or 7, 8 maybe, they had 7 plans,
Yes.
7 options. And
Well-
that's what
Yeah, definitely. I looked at that Carpenter Marty study that had 7
Right.
different options, We identified a couple of options, that viable options, and for the design, we also included those options in the, for people who are providing the proposal, that this has been done in the past, but definitely we need to see what has been changed during the time period that elapsed, what are the current, traffic condition and kind of development that we are forecasting in the area, and how those developments impact the new design and the needs of the community in that area.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
That's all.
Mr. Weaver?
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Thank you, Director, and it's a pleasure having you here with the city. Just as a quick follow-up, so I guess in the order of operations here, we worked with the TID. What's next?
Well, like for this, like we are starting to, actually we work concurrently to get procurement, to get our, like has been for the design firm, and also first needs, we need to get the kind of this intergovernmental agreement, and then when we get the proposal from the firm, before that we need to have signed a conflict of interest, and these are the process, and then grant agreement before be able to kind of select the vendors for the design of this project.
If I could, are you asking me in the broader level in terms of the project,
Yeah,
or
so I
the
think what
specifics to the grant?
I think what I'm driving at is, it sounded like we had a couple maybe viable options from the Carpenter.
It's 2017, I think.
Sure, but maybe narrow that down to a couple options. Is the goal with this next step to come out with like a conceived plan of what we want to do and start taking act? Okay, I see
Yeah.
nodding heads, so that's.
Yeah, definitely, that's the plan.
Okay.
To look at the network in the area, not just that intersection, because there's a lot of effect on the surrounding intersection.
Absolutely.
And the mobility of the network, which we consider in the design, in the new design, and what we are expecting and forecasting in terms of the traffic in that area.
Okay, no, that's exactly what I was looking for, so thank you.
Using those as the starting point, so we're not starting from scratch.
Absolutely, and I'll just say I always appreciate the partnership and looking for outside grant funding for anything. I think this administration does a great job doing that, so.
Other questions? All right, are we good with consent for this one on the 8th as well? All right, thank you very much, Director. Next, we have Parks and Rec, Director Farrell.
Good evening. I have one item for you tonight. This is related to the Academy Park renovation project. Just as an update, this has come forward for a few different items previously, but that does include the renovation project as a whole, includes the redesign and rebuild of the playground, a new shelter house, which is expanded to also serve as a concession area, a seated area, as well as a trailhead for the mountain bike trail, as well as the Big Walnut Trail. We have improved and expanded parking, and also the inclusion of stormwater features. So as part of the implementation of this project, the department conducted a request for proposal process to identify a vendor to fulfill the construction administration and construction inspection for this project. And through that competitive process, a vendor was selected. Parks Partners LLC was selected in order to fulfill those necessary items. So with that, the administration is respectfully requesting a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Parks Partners LLC. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions or discussion? Mrs. Bowers?
Yeah, thank you very much. Just could you share with us a little bit about timeline on the project?
Sure.
Thank you.
Right now, the full submittals of the 100% design are in review with engineering. The first round is being conducted. We do have hopes to go to bid on that project by the end of this year. Once we have a contractor, we'll have a more concrete timeline for the actual groundbreaking and of course, the full schedule to the substantial completion.
Okay, thank you. And I guess just maybe help clarify, so this is the second item that we have on this evening's agenda tonight related to hiring a project administrator. Is this consistent with what we've been doing, or are we like moving into using more contract support for that type of work? Or is this consistent with past practices? Because I was just reflecting on some conversations in the past that some internal staff had been managing some of this work, so.
No, absolutely, and it's a great question. This project specifically, there's a lot of complexities. This is, a playground on top of civil engineering with the playground, again, stormwater work. So the amount of skill and expertise in order to make sure that we are not placing the city at risk, that we are truly performing this project at the best ability. This is the best approach for us to be able to fulfill that adequately. This is one of the largest park projects that we've seen to date, so this is an appropriate step to allow us to manage it adequately.
Thank you.
Other questions? Yes, Ms. McGregor.
So this company, that they have the adequate professionals, like the engineering and for stormwater and the parking and the playground, all that, construction for the shelter house, they have all those different entities,
Yeah.
people that can service that?
That's why, and that's the purpose for the request for proposal is to determine with the full scope of the project that we do have the right technical group on for the project. So yes.
And then you said an RFP for contractor is still left, right, to like get the work started?
So this does require a sealed bid process, so
Yeah.
we will have to publicly bid this project.
Okay.
So that is still outstanding, so that has not been completed to date.
Okay. Other questions? All right, are we good with consent on the 8th for this one as well? All right, thank you very much. Next, public service. Good evening, Director.
Good evening. I have before you here ordinance requesting the authorization for the mayor to issue a notification of award and enter into a contract with Rumpke of Ohio for recycling processing services. This is kind of that phase 2 or piggyback of what we were here last month. That would have been the waste collection. This is the actual processing of the recycling when we take it to a facility. So as you're aware, we are part of the SWECO Consortium 1. We kind of leverage as much pricing as we can with about a dozen other Central Ohio communities to reduce the cost of our recycling processing. So not much changing in the bid from the last 5 years. Pricing is still not to exceed $35 per ton and a not to exceed rebate or revenue share of that $20 a ton. So it's what we've been operating in the last 5 years. So that's what we plan for the next 5 years as well. So there should not be any significant changes or modifications expected. And again, we bid it out for the pricing to know exactly what the cost will be over the next 5 years. And that would be effective tipping fees for January 1st of 27 through December 31st of 31. So I have before you, again, legislation requesting authorization of the mayor to issue that notice of award and for us to enter into the contract with Rumpke of Ohio for recycling processing services. Any questions?
Yeah, any questions? Yes, Ms. Padova.
Thank you. Sorry, did you say that this would start in January?
Yeah, January 1st to 27. Yep.
Okay, and then does the switch from local waste to Rumpke start?
So
I
that
was
would be
thinking that
waste
started
collection
earlier.
services.
Yeah.
Would be January 1st as well.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
this
they,
would be the
they both will switch January 1st.
Correct. Well, technically, this is currently under Rumpke. It would just stay under Rumpke for the next 5 years.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
So, okay, you just clarified, so Rumpke is our recycling now, that's not a change?
100%, yeah.
Okay.
So in Ohio, there's essentially 2 recycling processing.
Yeah.
There's one where Rumpke's done a big investment in Central Ohio recently, and then there's Waste Management in Northern Ohio. And Waste Management and Rumpke both bid on our recycling services. Rumpke's just lower tipping fee on average, and still has a cost or a revenue share rebates.
Just to clarify, because I'm not sure, all collection services are currently performed by local waste. All collection services going forward will be performed by Rumpke.
Right, from
But,
January.
but recycling is processed currently by Rumpke.
So this is for processing, not collection,
Correct,
right?
yeah. Collection
Okay.
was what we brought forward last month.
Got it,
Yep.
thank you. All right, other questions, clarifications? All right, are we good with consent for this one would be the 21st? Okay, thank you. Last item, finance. Good evening, Director Burry.
Good evening. I just have one item for you today. It's a request for supplemental appropriations. We did our mid-year. There were more that came in for auditor and treasurer fees, which is the request for the TIF funds. And also the special assessments, the county can now charge a fee, and they have starting to assess fees on those special assessment collections. And then we also have a supplemental request for the refuse fund for the community waste reduction grant expenditures. So respectfully requesting an ordinance for supplemental appropriations.
Questions or discussion? All right, then, good with consent on the 21st for this one as well. All right, thank you, and if there's nothing else for Committee of Whole, we will transition to Finance and Mr. Renner.
Yeah, I was just.
Good evening. You guys ready?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, I want to go ahead and call to order our Finance Committee meeting. The first discussion is just a carryover from last time. It's our discussion about our Gahanna strategic plan. And I wanted to be able to actually give my colleagues just one more chance to be able to tell the administration anything or even ask. And if not, we can simply go on to the next item. All right, so let's just go ahead and go to the next item, and that's our Q2 financial report. Thank you.
Oh, I have updates on the strategic plan.
Ah, right. Oh, I'm so sorry. I went too fast.
That's okay.
So please,
It'll be brief.
Miranda.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
Great, thank you. Tonight I have Kelsey Bartholomew joining me. She was on the project team for our Gahanna, and her and Mr. Bach behind me continue to assist with the strategic plan tracking. So today we're going to give you the Q2 update. We talked a lot about public dashboarding before, so we'll give you a preview of that and then the next steps. So as we've been talking about, this is an alignment year. So here's just a little update on where we are. We've identified strategic plan champions and team roles. In addition, we have worked to align the strategic plan with the budget, including a new personnel request form, updating the budget book to incorporate the plan, and then standardizing department narratives. So when you do get the budget book later this fall, you will see some changes throughout there referring back to our Gahanna and some standardization across those department narratives as well. This is just a brief summary of where we are. We have 116 projects in progress that support the strategic plan. I just wanted to highlight some of them that we've worked on currently. I just discussed the 2027 priorities and budget alignment. In addition, the public dashboarding, which we'll show you this evening, supports a couple of the strategies up there, 2A8 for transparency, as well as 2A12 to utilize technology across all departments. Under 2A11, expanding professional development, we have 3 staff members participating in the Masters of Public Administration cohort through Franklin University that was offered through OPELRA, which is the Ohio Public Employers Labor Relations Association, and I serve on their board. So I think 2 members of your team and Ms. Bartholomew have started that program this week, actually. She has her first paper due this week already. In addition, some of Director Farrell's staff has had the opportunity to attend the National Parks and Rec Association Maintenance School through those expanded opportunities as well. And then in addition, Citizens Academy is getting ready to kick off next, and we've been able to move that from 7 to 9 sessions as well, beginning on September 2nd. So Mr. Renner just asked, but there's another opportunity if you have any more feedback. We are starting the budget process this week, and so these were the strategies and priorities for this year: Creekside District, a connected service, and then quality of place. Next, the project management software. So this software will help us track our Gahanna as well as some other plans as well. So we have, Kelsey has led that project and conducted software demos with a focus group of stakeholders. We've selected a vendor, and we are preparing for implementation that kicks off tomorrow. Some of the software features, which Kelsey will show you here shortly, strategic plan tracking will build out performance management and metrics, as well as project management reporting across the city. One of the unique features of the software that was selected is it'll actually connect the plans to one another. And then additional plan tracking. So not only will our Gahanna be in there, the Parks and Rec Master Plan, as well as the Economic Development Strategy and other plans that the city might do. And so the software will automatically track updates that are added about the Parks Master Plan, and will automatically connect to the other plans that are in that for the public dashboarding as well. So next I'll turn it over to Kelsey, and she is going to run you briefly through the shell of our new software so you can see some of that.
Good evening. I'm glad I could be here tonight. We're not up past my bedtime this time, so happy to be here. I am going to be brief, though, because I do have to go write that paper after this. So this is just kind of what we call a prototype of what our public dashboard will look like. This is configured in our live environment in the software, but you're seeing a preview tonight. So when we roll out the full dashboard, you'll see some changes here and there, some graphics updates, but the general structure will be the same. So this will be publicly accessible for members of the community to view, as well as members of City Council at any time you want, in addition to the quarterly and annual reports that we'll provide. So when anyone visits the site, they'll first be greeted by this banner showing our Gahanna, little bit of history, our mission, vision, values, and then scrolling down, you'll see a tile for each of the 4 goal areas in the plan, with a very high-level tracker showing what progress we've made on the plan so far. Obviously, we're just getting started and not everything's loaded into the software yet, so that's why you're seeing that everything says it is either pending or upcoming. As we add more data into the software, you'll see these colored bands grow and change and become more colorful to show that we are actually making progress on these items. If you dig a little deeper into any of the goal areas, you'll see those broken down into the objectives, and then from there broken down further into the strategies that make up the plan. There will be a 4th level of tracking available here once we have the software fully implemented, where we'll take these strategies and break them down further into the actual projects and action items that we're doing to provide value to our community. Each of those will have, again, those color-coded bars showing what progress we've made. Are our projects on track? Are they behind? Do we have a lot of completed work or things that are still upcoming? We'll also be able to customize each of these pages to show any metrics that we may want to link to the plan. And to provide updates on individual projects to show a high-level status update on where we are. For example, if we were to provide a status update on something like the Civic Center right now, we would talk about the progress we've made over the past quarter with moving in, finalizing the building, so that the community can track those projects in real time.
Just the next steps, we'll continue building out the public dashboard, and then we are working on drafting the reporting templates and getting more of our Gahanna built in to our reports, such as reports to council, annual reports, financial reporting, CIP reporting, and those items. That is your quarter two, is that quarter two strategic plan update. Any questions?
Any questions? Ms. Jones?
No question, but love the dashboard and love the community transparency piece of it and the ability to see detail on everything. So just kudos and thank you for bringing that to life for us and the community.
Glad you like it.
Any other questions? Ms. Bowers?
Yeah, just one quick clarification. So with regard to the other plans that you mentioned, do you anticipate a similar dashboard? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, so the software is built like that, and you just put the plans in, and then we determine the metrics on the back end. So the other plans may take a little longer because some of them are a little more complex, but the goal is to get them in. Yes.
Great, thank you. And good work. This looks great.
Thanks.
Yeah, that is very good. Are they Facebook friendly, or is these links, can we post them and in some way to be able to help communicate this?
Yeah, so the software has all exporting features to social media graphics, to different links, to shortened links, to all those items.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. All right, now moving on to physical quarter two financial report.
So going through, we'll discuss the same things that we always do during this, what our Q2 results are for the general fund and all the special funds that receive income taxes, just a brief summary on CIP, income tax trends, investments, and then, of course, our conclusion. So the first thing that we're going to look at is general fund revenue. So the first thing I want to point out is that we did have an uptick for our income tax revenue, and we'll look at the chart later that shows that breakdown. But the first quarter was a little bit of a pause back as the work from home requirements and some of the projects by ODOT kind of drove that down a little bit in that first quarter. Other revenue, charges for services and planning permits, very similar to the first quarter. So other revenue, we have that decrease. We had some of those one-time fundings for the COHCC dividends and the property tax refunds for 825. And then charges for services, we just have some pending charges for the new CAD and RMS shared services, and then, of course, the Creekside rent. And then seeing that permits, licensing and permits are still up compared to last year, showing that we're still having that capital investment throughout the city. Any questions on revenue? Moving on to expenditures, we're about 37% of the budget, but when you include encumbrances, we're about 60%. Actual is trending a little bit lower, but again, with those encumbrances, we're showing that we have about 60% of the budget already captured. Main increases, salaries and benefits, which we knew was expected. We had increases and then the addition of the staffing for the new Civic Center. Materials and supplies, the majority of that is utility cost. Like everybody else, we're incurring those larger energy costs. And then the contract services, that was that COHCC payment that was assessed in 2025. We paid the first quarter of 26. Any questions on expenditures? All right. So we're going to look at what that has impact on our fund balance. So at the end of the quarter, we added about $3 million back to our fund balance, bringing us up to $48 million. 10.9 is reserved for encumbrance, and $10 million is our emergency reserve. Just noting again that emergency reserve does continue to increase as our operating expenses, they are in alignment. And that leaves about $26.9 million, or 9 months of operating expenses, which is, again, higher than the 2-month requirement by policy. Any questions on the general fund in general? Nothing really to report beyond what we saw in the first quarter for the special revenue funds compared to the budget. We're about where you'd expect to be for the public safety fund, revenue-wise and expense-wise. For Parks and Recreation, they are about halfway through their season by the end of the second quarter, so seeing that that's tracking as expected. And then again, engineering, with the staffing issues, they still have some projects on the back burner that they're working through, but again, as they continue to get fully staffed, we'll see that start to increase. Compared to the prior year, again, seeing similar results that we had with the first quarter. The decrease in contract services for public safety, again, mental health liaison, moving from contract services back to staff. And then Parks and Recreation, they had increased some of their seasonal pools based on the past season and seeing that they have more days open. And then charges for services revenue in Parks and Recreation also increasing mainly due to camps and pools. Any questions on the special revenue funds? Okay, looking at the capital project fund, seeing revenue coming in similar to the general fund with income tax, seeing the investment income come down as we spent the majority of the bond proceeds. Expenditures are about 24% of plan, but with encumbrances, we have about 97% of that captured. And then the decrease related to 2025 is just the wind down of the Civic Center cost. And that's different. Just the next couple slides are just kind of listing out some of that project information. Just showing first how we're tracking by current active projects. We spent about $14.5 million to date and have about $24.5 million sitting on POs. And then this is just a view by fund and then the type of categories that those funds are paying for as far as capital. Any questions on capital? All right, we're going to take a quick look at income tax and see how we're trending there. Again, the one thing that you'll notice is our withholding tax has rebounded, which is good. We're a little concerned with that first quarter, but it looks like things are coming in as planned, and it looks like we're going to be on track to meet that 4% increase. Individual taxes are on an increase. There was nothing that stuck out, and looking at some reporting behind that, just that in general, taxable income for the city is up as far as individuals go. And then the net profit, again, last year was unusual. We brought in a ton of net profit taxes. We knew that wasn't sustainable. So now this is just kind of seeing the normalization of those taxes. Any questions on income tax? Looking at our investment portfolio, a majority of that is invested either in Star Ohio or government bonds, CDs, and commercial paper. You'll see in the third quarter that there was a movement of some of those inactive funds sitting in Star Ohio into our investment portfolio to make sure that we're investing those properly. And then as we kind of look at how the second quarter ended, at the state level, there's still that push for property tax reform. We're going to continue to see that. We're continuing to see, the conflict in the Middle East, those increase in energy costs and the cost of goods, related to tariffs being pushed off to the consumer. Inflation is creeping a little bit, so there's no plan on any movement in interest rates for 2026. And then we're just going to have to monitor things closely. As costs keep on rising and residents and consumers are trying to figure out how to navigate this economic environment, there could be a chance where things may stall. I don't see anything stopping completely, but as this continues, we might see some redirection or some stall and some growth. Any questions? That's all I got.
Can I have one question?
Mrs. McGregor.
What about the bed tax? Does that bring any amount of money?
Oh, yeah, it's on an increase. We'll go back to the first slide here, if it'll keep up with me. So you'll notice, so that is under the other taxes category. That is our lodging tax. So kind of seeing that right here, we're at about 54% of what we had planned for the year. So that's good. We're halfway through the year, so that's where you'd expect to be. And then if you look at how we are tracking to last year, we're up about 43% right here. And we are getting short-term rental filings in, so there is some compliance on that end. Determining if it's 100% compliance is nearly impossible, but we did send out to those that we are aware of, and we have had a majority of those comply with the requirements.
How many short-term rentals do we have in Gahanna?
Gosh, I'd have to go back and look at that last report we did. There's not a large amount, and it's hard to verify. However, there is some state legislation that will hopefully go through. It's pending right now. I think it might be in the House, where they're going to require those that do the actual management, so your Airbnbs and your Virgos and all of that, they are going to start requiring that they register these, know what locality they're in, and start collecting and remitting for them. That's kind of the hurdle that we have right now, is they're not required to share any of that information with us, and there's no requirement that they collect. It's really on the property owner. So hopefully if that legislation goes through, it'll make it a little bit easier to capture what's actually in our area and make sure that we get better compliance.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none. Capital improvement plan. Thank you, Joanne.
Good evening, folks. So capital improvement plan update for, I think this time last year, I think we did this meeting actually on 8/25 of last year. Couched last year as an annual update, and what we largely did was update you folks on some of the larger projects and kind of give you a preview of what would be coming in the formal CIP update. So what will change here in a second, is our CIP adoption timeline. So obviously, the CIP is something that we manage consistently as we go throughout the year. It's never far from our minds and what's coming up in the subsequent year. So in early April, we did have a CIP advisory committee meeting, and then I believe that same evening, I gave a project priorities update before you folks. We did host a second CIP advisory committee meeting of the year in July 21st. Then you see our date here today to have this particular conversation as it relates to the CIP. And then what you see below that is all of the events that will take place between now and budget time as it relates to the CIP. So we anticipate having the CIP introduced to you guys formally on the 28th of September, with final adoption of the CIP itself taking place on October 19th. And then remember, I always like to make the note that the CIP, the capital improvement plan, and the capital budget, while similar, are not the same. So we'll do appropriations and such. Well, you guys will have an idea as to what those appropriations will look like, but then we'll introduce the capital budget to you guys formally per the budget calendar on October 27th. And then just by a note, October 29th is the scheduled budget workshop. So looking forward to getting into all that. Obviously, we still have next 30-ish days or so to put some polish on the CIP itself and get you guys some finalized things. I will say just programmatically, each year that we do this, as far as the cycle goes, it does get a little bit easier to update projects, update the document, make sure that we have current statuses. This year, based on some of the things that we're going to talk about on the next slide here in a second, well, there will be a somewhat, I refer to it as the shaking of the sand and the leveling of some of the projects for subsequent years. So this is a slide here, large capital investments, right? I think that the CIP is filled with a lot of smaller type items, but then some very large items at the same time. This is a slide here that I largely presented, I think it was this time last year, like I said. But these are the large projects that we're currently working on. So I'd like to give just a quick status update of each and every one of them. Again, it won't be lengthy, so it's going to be more narrative than picture driven. But the Creekside Garage and Plaza project, you guys are very familiar with that. We have recently went out to RFP for construction management at risk services for that particular project. We do have a selected vendor at this particular moment, or preferred vendor as we like to refer to it, as we're in this contracting phase. And we will be bringing forth to you guys a contract for construction manager at risk services here in the next couple of months. This project, Creekside itself, the construction thereof, remember, we do have a project, right? We do know that we do need to do flood mitigation, and we're just not 100% sure exactly the breadth and scope of the entire project. So bringing a construction manager on will be very similar to how we handled 825. One of their first things that they do is they'll come in, they will look at the drawings, they will understand the designs, and they will start refining the estimates, the project estimates that ultimately roll into a project budget and a financing strategy for that particular project. That contract will be broken down into two parts: pre-construction. Pre-construction is estimated at about an $80,000 contract, so technically it doesn't need to come before you folks as an item for approval based on our rules. But that contract will come before you folks. Because of the significance of the capital project, obviously, of Creekside, so on and so forth. So we are likely to sign a smaller agreement, if you would, that basically gives our preferred vendor the ability to get started and not wait the subsequent weeks, if you would, for introduction, and then having them get started on estimating and doing those types of things. So we hope to have those folks fully on board here in the next few weeks to begin estimating that project more in total. I see a question, Mr. Weaver.
Yes, thank you, Director. Thank you, Chair. Just while we're on the topic, if I recall correctly from our last big presentation on there was a menu of options that we were discussing and weighing. It sounds like the administration has a recommended path forward that will be coming when you do this. Okay,
so it's not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily come forward when we bring this particular contract forward. But when we begin to refine and we bring remember with 825, we did a guaranteed maximum price contract, an amendment to, which gets us into contract, similar to what Director Farrell was talking about as far as Academy Park goes. So when the project is ready for bid, we're at 100% complete. We know that everybody is comfortable with budgets and funding mechanisms. That's the time at which there'll be a full and complete understanding of exactly what the project is. So there's still some ramp there. When we come here in a couple weeks with the construction manager at risk contract, a lot of their fees and such are percentages thereof of construction, right? So it's not like we're signing up for, we're not signing up for a $1 million project and X number of fees, right? We're signing up for an unknown project amount with percentages associated to it for their fees. So if the project was $1 million or the project was $100 million, the percentages don't change. That might be a gross exaggeration, but if it was a $1 million versus a $2 million project, the percentages thereof would not change.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So that'll come before you folks likely on that September in the September timeframe.
That was my follow-up. All right, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Other questions on Creekside? I'll pause after each one of these real quick and see if there's additional questions. So Academy Park, Director Farrell just indicated that we're hoping to be through a bid process or to a bid process by the conclusion of this particular year. I won't waste our time, and I'll just pause for any questions that there might be on Academy, being that it's already been spoken about this evening. Okay. West Side Utility Projects. West Side Utility Projects, we are probably about, actually I'll talk about the next two in unison. The West Side Utility Projects, this is the relief sewer that's been being discussed and is in active design on the west side of Gahanna. While we're doing that particular project, we're taking the time and the opportunity to also do transportation improvements along West Johnstown Road, basically from James Road all the way west to what is likely going to be Goshen. That project is probably at about 30% design at this particular phase, so we continue to make good progress on it. When I do get to my next slide here, we'll see some of the funding opportunities that we've been seeking in order to not just have that ride on the capital dollars, but also seeking outside funding as it relates to those particular projects. I will pause and note on this particular one and then expand the conversation just slightly, but the Columbia Gas natural gas pipeline project will run in this basic vicinity as well. Down Agler, which is in part where the relief sewer runs, but then also note, as we've talked about, I think we've talked about at least I know at the CIP Advisory Committee meetings, I'm not sure if we've talked very formally before all council, but that project runs all the way east to Taylor Station Road, so that will impact a large portion of the geography in the coming years as well. So. Questions on the West Side Utility Project and the West Johnstown Road Improvement Project. Yes, ma'am.
Will this project address the sewer issues that were in College Park and that neighborhood there?
It addresses WIBS all the way from Coronation all the way south to the College Park area, the College Park neighborhood. Yes. WIBS, sorry, water and basements. The Big Walnut Trail. The Big Walnut Trail is a project, you'll see my asterisks and my change from 28 to 29. We had an opportunity to do some realignment and some redesign of the Big Walnut Trail itself. That also gave us the opportunity to go back to Linkus and seek additional funding. My next slide will speak to it more specifically, but we were awarded about $2.5 million for the implementation of this project. But with our commitment to push this out by 1 year as opposed to starting construction in 28, we would start construction on this particular project in 29. Stigler-Agler US 62, Director already spoke about this particular project, right? And as he indicated, we're picking up, if you would, in essence, from our Carpenter Marty study, right? We had those seven conceptual designs. We're currently out to RFP for design services for that project. The $200,000 that was awarded by the TID is really just a drop in the bucket of what design would actually cost for that particular intersection. That is a multi-million-dollar design that would take place at that particular intersection. And as indicated, right, it's really for the region. It's not just the region, the area, if you would. It's not just for US 62. It goes all the way up to Amfield and technically a little bit further north, and then it would also technically go all the way down to West Johnstown Road as well. So it takes into consideration a much more larger area to solve the problem, because we're not solving US 62. We're not solving the US 62 issue and challenge without solving some of the other challenges that we have at some of that interesting geography that intersection makes. This project will play directly in line with West Johnstown Road, right, as indicated on that particular project. That project goes from James Road all the way to Goshen. And all of these improvements need to work together and play together on a multi-year strategy for implementation in order to solve the mobility issues and the transportation issues that we have at those particular intersections. So again, while we are very grateful to the TID for the actual, I don't know if it was the full award or not. I'll look back at Mr. Bach. It was the full award for the $200,000. The only reason why we applied for a lot less money than we knew that it would take was because we thought we would go into conceptual design first and then realized that that was probably an unnecessary step to take. So that application was already in flight and probably already submitted when we chose to pivot and do a design services RFP for the entire design of the intersection in the area, as opposed to basically restarting from conceptual design. Additional questions on Stigler-Agler 62, and then I guess I reopen the door for West Johnstown as well. So the aquatics master plan, this is something that we talked about last year, and if you remember correctly, we did put some amount of money in order to do a site investigation at the Gahanna swimming pool property. That particular contract is underway, and or if not directly underway right now, going to be underway in the next couple of weeks here. That site investigation will do geotechnical on the property. It will understand exactly what the flood impacts are in that particular area, and basically its goal is to determine the feasibility of building what is in the aquatics master plan on that particular site. Obviously, this is a necessary step in order to determine if what we want to build as it relates to the aquatics master plan is even capable of being built on that particular piece of property, and or how much of it is able to be built on that property. We will make just a quick note, right, that and I think we made it at the CIP advisory committee meeting, but that whole FEMA firm map, that flood improvement area map, is currently under review by FEMA. Which means some of that floodway and flood boundaries are going to change here. Hopefully we know what that is looking like in the next few months. It's been under review by FEMA for quite some time. So once we have a fuller understanding of what that map looks like, that will also impact not just the Gahanna swimming pool parcels, but also the Creekside Garage and Plaza project as well.
Just one comment, that revision can go either way, because.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, 100%, yes.
When we bought our house, it was not in the floodplain.
Correct.
And they redrew the lines, and then it was in the floodplain, so it can go up or down.
Yes, no, it always goes up and down. There's probably some areas that will come out, and there's probably some areas that will go in. Yeah. One of the things one of the challenges right now is that we're wholly beholden on that particular map revision to FEMA's process and the time in which it's going to take for them to actually finish the revision itself. So I do know that it is a revision that has been in the works for a number of years at this particular point in time, with no clear understanding as to when that process may wrap up. We are allowed to move forward. We're allowed to move forward under the existing constraints. But like Ms. McGregor just indicated, that one day she probably didn't require flood insurance, and then the next day she did. So there are implications to the map changing, and we're aware of those, obviously, and taking those into consideration as we go through design on a variety of projects. The last project on our list is the Service and Parks Garage. Obviously, I'm just keeping this here. We have investigated through the efforts of Director Godke a number of parcels throughout town and throughout town to see if siting a service and parks garage on those parcels would be appropriate. Those have led to good conversation, but those have not led to a solution at this particular point in time. So it's still indicated on this particular slide, just to indicate to you guys that while we do not have a solution, it is something that we are actively working towards, thinking about and planning for. The unfortunateness in this particular instance is that, the 7 to 12 acres that we require is at a premium here in the city, so. The next, well, I'm going to go back real quick, right? So large total capital projects at the bottom of the slide, they're $85 to $105 million, $106 million, right? Just as a comment there, right? One of the things that we've talked about consistently is we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do, and we have a finite amount of resources. So how do we do more with how do we eat the plate, if you would, without a bigger fork, right? Well, build a bigger fork. And this slide here is really just an indication of the efforts of the administration to really seek all sorts of outside funding dollars, right? I don't want this slide here to be misconstrued in any way. While we have applied for $30 to $40 million in outside funding, there are some numbers that are on this particular slide where we already know we have not been awarded, okay? This is really an illustration, right? We applied for a build grant for $8.8 million on West Johnstown Road. We know that grant is not going to hit this year. We will apply for that grant next year, and we will apply for that grant the following year, until maybe we do receive some level of funding for some of these particular projects. One of the things that Sean Bach is in the back of the room, one of the things he pointed out to me today is some of these grants, for example, the example he gave me, and I believe it was around the build grant, I'm going to quickly look, around the build grant. Some of the projects that we're competing on with the build grant are things like, I don't know, the Browns new municipal stadium, right? So that's the type of competition that is involved in some of these pots. I think one of the differences today versus yesterday is the fact that we're throwing our hat in the ring for $40+ million, despite the fact that, some days, we get disappointing news. As I indicated with the TID, right? We applied for $200,000 and it was a full award. And then we decided that we were going to change our process and, we need a whole lot more money as it relates to that particular project, right? We're not allowing the unknown to stop the efforts as they move forward. You can see $17 million in Stigler-Agler 62 funding already applied for as it relates to that particular area. The bottom of the slide indicates 17 applications over these 8 project areas, right? You guys have approved authorizing legislation in the last few weeks for a number of these grant opportunities that are being submitted for. And in the recent weeks, there's just been a very, in my mind, sometimes more confusing than the garbage conversation about about collection versus processing, right? But it's like, well, wait, we just applied for a grant for Stigler-Agler 62 or West Johnstown Road. Well, we're basically hitting every pot that we possibly can because these are large sum projects that do and will require outside funding in order for them to bring to fruition. One of the reasons why it was easy to push out the Big Walnut Trail to 2029 was for $2.5 million additional dollars to bring that project to life, right? So this is making the pie bigger. These applications make the pie bigger even by just small amounts. We're very hopeful that the Creekside Garage, right, we've received some dollars, state capital dollars for Creekside Garage and Plaza improvements, but really just very small sums as it relates to the grand totals of that particular project. But these are the applications that are currently out there. I do note that these are, at last review, these are all of the grants that we've applied for, even small, like $75,000 for Price Road, right? So Price Road was well into construction when we decided that we were going to throw our hat in the ring for even just a small grant as it relates to that project, right? So we do, Sean has been doing a great job at not just the large, but also the small and everything in between, which just goes to show the level of commitment that we have to bring these projects to life and actually address some of the issues and challenges that we have, knowing that we can't just do this based on issue 12 and other revenue pots that we have that are sometimes more variable than a grant opportunity. So I just really reiterate the adoption slide. This way you guys can just see that one more time as it relates to next efforts. So basically in the next 30 to 40 days here, we'll be back before you with the full plan itself. We'll have accomplishments for the prior year, what we've completed, what's been advanced, so on and so forth, any new projects that we're standing up, which that's the nice thing about year after year with the plan itself and how it's organized. There's very few new things that actually get stood up, which is good. And then we'll be back here, like I said, on September 28th with the full plan itself. And then we'll have the opportunity to discuss that over the next several meetings in October, right? It's not just, oh, here it is on the 28th and one meeting and done. Nope, we'll talk about it for the next, basically the whole entire month of October as we lead up to capital budget time. So with that, that's what I have for us this evening and can take any additional questions you guys might have.
Any questions? Okay.
Sweet.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Any news for the good of the goal? Okay. Then we're adjourned. Thank you.